All right, welcome back to another video. So as the title suggests, what we're talking about today is why they are called stealerships. So I have in my hand right here a estimate for needed repairs. 2012 Honda Accord with 133,000 miles on it. So a lot of people say 133,000 miles, the Honda Accord is just getting broke in. Especially one that's been maintained properly, like this one has. So this is a friend of mine, took his car to the dealer to get tires because they had the best price on tires, actually. And, you know, they hand him this estimate and say, your car needs all this stuff. And the total cost, $4,520. So $4,520.53. So we're going to cover what they say this vehicle needed, and if any of that is actually true. So if we look right here, we can see, you know, their standard Honda multi-point inspection. So obviously they think it needs a cabin filter, fluids, oil, power steering, brake fluid, engine air filter, brake linings. I will say I reviewed everything that they mentioned on here, and the only thing that was not a lie was that it needed new rear rotors and pads. So we went ahead and knocked that out. Also did a transmission drain and fill, changed the spark plugs, just basic tune-up. Drive belt looked good. Did an oil change while we had it in here, even though it wasn't quite due yet. But everything else on the car looked good. All right, so let's start with what they said first. So brake job, again, agreed. Next thing, the AT intermediate shaft bearing seal is leaking. Okay, so what they do is they actually take pictures, and this is the intermediate shaft right here that they say is leaking. So this is great. I guess they can say they're not lying because in the picture nothing is leaking. There's a little bit of like maybe wetness looking right here. That's not the intermediate shaft. There's nothing leaking on that, okay? Next thing they say, 30,000 mile service, which who knows what that is, but you're supposed to do it every 30,000 miles. So that's another thing to add to the price. What do we got here? 105,000 mile service. Well, we don't know if you did it or anything in it, so we're gonna put that on there. I want you to change the cabin air filter. Always do that yourself. You can get them for $10 on Amazon. It takes 5 minutes. All right, next thing, engine air filter replacement. Again, easy stuff, $10, 2 minutes. Axle seal. Okay, so they're saying there is an axle seal leak. So this is a pretty big claim. Again, should be very easy to see with an inspection if we have transmission fluid leaking out of the axle seals on the transmission. So here is the picture they took. Again, somehow that, oh wait, hold on, I got ahead of myself. They didn't take a picture for the axle seal. The next thing, they said it needed a completely new rack and pinion. So that's what this picture is. If not replaced, a failing steering rack may clunk when turning or going over bumps. A failing steering rack will also cause difficulty in steering. So they're saying it needs a completely new rack, and this picture is evidence of that. Don't know how. So when he brought the car to me, I checked the power steering fluid. It was at the appropriate level, looked clean, and there was no visible leaks under the car. So if we look, while we're at it, let's look at these axle seals. Okay, so that's a lie, complete lie, just like everything else so far. All right, next thing, compliance bushings. Okay, so you know what that is? Compliance bushing. So look at the picture. I'm not even going to show you in the car. Look at the picture they took. The rubber is just starting to show just a little bit of age. If you've ever seen what these look like when they go bad, there's nothing wrong with this. Again, they're saying it needs replaced. Well, it's yellow, means they recommend replacement. All right, so for a rear brake job, $302. This is your intermediate shaft bearing seal that's leaking supposedly, $493. Axle seal, $101. 30,000 mile service, $490. Doesn't even say what that is. Brake fluid flush, you know, that is necessary to do every now and then. $115, not horrible. Steering rack is leaking, recommend replacement. $1,802. 105,000 mile service, $983. So I assume that's like spark plugs and a tune-up and stuff. They don't say that though. Compliance bushing, $185. So again, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to protect people's identities here. So air filter, $49. Cabin air filter, $39. Again, total of $4,520.53. So like I said, out of all of that, it did need new rear brakes. So out of $4,500, $302 was necessary. Everything else was a lie. So that is why we call them stealerships. Get yourself a good independent mechanic that specializes in the type of vehicle that you drive and go to them. Never take your car to a dealership. And I don't care what they say. I know there are some good dealer techs out there, but if you are taking these pictures for your service advisor, you are in on this and you are part of the problem. You took pictures of nothing and said there was something wrong. You are the problem with this industry. There's no other way to say it. This is just one example. I've seen many. So again, guys, educate yourself as much as you can. And for the stuff that you don't want to do, get someone reputable with credentials. Always support independent mechanics. They can use the exact same factory parts as the dealer and do a much better job. All right, so just wanted to go over this real quick. It's just an example that I recently saw with a friend of mine. Again, he brought the car to me for a second opinion, and we got him fixed up for a couple $100 versus spending $5,000. So as always, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment. If you have a similar story, I'd like to hear it. Until next time, we'll see you later.